What are we waiting for?
We scoping the place out, man. We ain't gonna just run up in there. That's how you get shot.
Say that again. You wow. Ooh. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely
You don't
not.
know nothing about no war.
Everybody knows war. Yeah. What it is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Good God, you all.
It ain't you all, it's y'all.
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 Man, you sound like a karate movie. Y'all.
Y'all.
Say it from right here with some soul. Y'all.
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 Let me show your goofy ass how to do this. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Come on.
All right, welcome. It's Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. You know what that means. We're getting Nikki back to welcome to Rush Hour. Nikki, hold on. There she is. What's up? Welcome back. No tan.
Thank you.
No barbecue. How was Dallas?
Work-wise, it was great. The city, not so much. Not my favorite. So I've been to Texas now a few times for work, and maybe because I'm always there for work, but really just not. I don't think I'm a Texas person. But the big question is, did you guys miss me on the Rush team this week?
I don't know. I guess so. A little bit.
So.
No, Spartan, thanks again to Mike.
Yes.
Spartan Mike for coming on, carrying with me. And then we took care of the NFC West.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks ago, we took care of the AFC East. And 3 weeks ago, we took care of the NFC East. Sorry. Tonight, we have the AFC West. So we have the packed division tonight. So, Nikki, take it away. Let's go one by one on our panel tonight. Who do we got?
Yes, we had to go big. I had to swing big for you guys on my week back. But just a reminder, everybody who is in the chat, this is Rush Hour. We are brought to you by Rush Sports Network, and we go around the league in 60 minutes or less. And in season, it will be all fantasy, all betting, and we will have our panels back throughout the year. So we are doing AFC West tonight. We will bring them in one by one. Thank you, Darius. I miss you guys too. It feels weird when I don't podcast, but obviously work comes first. Got to make that money, honey. So we are ready to introduce our panel. Here we go. Representing the Chargers, my friend Jake the Snake from the Snake Sports Talk Show. Jake, what is up? Welcome into Rush Hour. How are you, my friend? It's been a minute. I did your show, but it's been too long.
I'll tell you what, though, we're definitely not skipping a beat out here in this hot Vegas heat right now. Things are starting to heat up. Obviously, the NFL season, as all of us are getting excited for.
Yeah.
Schedule's out. Competition's getting bigger and better. And the only thing left to do now is preseason, and then it's onward to the 2023 season. So we're excited. And speaking of Dallas, I agree with you because right now everybody's salty as hell knowing the Golden Knights are up 3-0. So that's why Dallas is the way they are.
Fair.
Go Knights, go.
Not my favorite city. Really, literally a ghost town.
I wonder why.
No, not my favorite city. But thank you for doing my show. I'll have to get back on yours, sometime soon, hopefully. But I know you got a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Of course, we had to bring in the Hammer, literally, for Raider Nation. Let's go, Hammer. How are you? Jump on in here. Raider Nation is here. Raider Nation is here.
I'm sure they were screaming haters, but
Raiders fan radio. Shout out to you guys. All I see is shout out to Murph, shout out to Swag Jeff, Danny, Nikki. Thank you guys so much. Finally, I get to be a part of the New York Giants Rush Hour.
Yes,
and it's great to be here. So thank you guys.
It's been too long. We don't just have to talk on Instagram.
Yeah.
Who knew, right? All right, let's bring in the rest of the crew. So, talking about swinging big, guys, we got you Charles Goldman, ladies and gentlemen of the Chiefs Wire, representing the Kansas City Chiefs. What is up, my friend? How are you?
I'm great. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Glad to join you here.
Defending
Yes.
champions.
I'm sorry, defending Super Bowl champions.
Well, I mean, we're going to be champions this year too, so you can just
Can't wait to
Oh,
get into
boy,
this. I
here
can't
we
wait.
go.
But last but not least, representing the Denver Broncos, who might remember how to play football this year. We will find out. Brandon Walker, everybody from the Broncos Wire.
Let's
up?
ride,
Welcome
Brandon.
in.
Let's ride.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, we hope we can remember how to play football too.
Yeah.
On the offensive side, at least.
On the offensive side, the defense were pretty decent, and I think we got better in the draft. But hopefully, I hope Russell Wilson can improve this season.
Brandon, you just have to believe in two things. It's either let's ride or let's hide.
Last season was hiding, man. I can't even tell you how much we hid last season.
You know, it's funny because we'll get into it. We'll end the show with big predictions, but it was so high on the Broncos, and mostly because of their defense, right? They're so young, they're so talented, and I love their defense for fantasy, but it was like, listen, I don't think Nathaniel Hackett obviously was the right coach, but it was just kind of like Russell Wilson. He did not just forget how to play football. I mean, it was a disaster.
The craziest thing.
Yeah, here in Denver, it was probably one of the most disappointing seasons in recent memory, at least since the Josh McDaniels era. That's how bad it was here. We hated Nathaniel Hackett here.
All right, before we start with all the news and everything like that. All right, everybody but Hammer. Is the Raiders like the Philadelphia Eagles of the AFC West of the fans?
Yeah, but
holy crap, they
are. But the
spot.
difference is they are highly, highly emotional. So you might want to be careful what you say to them because they're too much in their feelings.
Oh, okay. So exactly like the Eagles fans. Okay, good. Got it. We
All right. So me and Nikki know how to handle that.
I don't know if it's like the Eagles, maybe more like Cowboy fans because they like to remind themselves of the old years.
Fair.
I know they haven't done shit since we were.
So
like,
who
wearing
takes longer to
jackets.
clean up their makeup, Nikki or Raider fans? That's the biggest question.
Listen,
If you're thinking what I'm thinking with cleaning that silver and lac dust all around that giant Roomba, then yeah. I think it's
You guys really don't know what you're getting yourselves into right now because this chat is slowly going to turn into a blackout.
It's all
and they're
fun.
going to go off.
It's all
okay,
fun.
well, we welcome it. I mean, come on in. Listen, I don't deal with Raiders fans too much. I'm not trying to get any smoke. The Eagles fans give me enough. So, but we can handle it. We got it. We just got to see what we're dealing with here. All right, let's jump into some news. I want to get your guys' thoughts. Hammer, we'll kick it off with you. Tom Brady, minority owner of the Raiders. Hey, what a good week to have you guys on. Tell us about it. What have we come full circle here that he is now minority owner of the Raiders of all places? So what's the buzz over there in Raider Nation? Anything?
Nothing official yet, which
Okay.
I talked about on the live a couple days ago. This is still pending the league approval, so God only knows how long that's going to take. But yeah, full circle. It's funny because we've heard the talks over the last year and a half, 2 years. Brady was supposed to apparently be a Raider quite some time. There was something in play when Gruden was here that him and Gronk were going to come, and Gruden shut it down. And then this offseason, everybody, Brady's coming here. He announces his retirement. Look, he has ownership in the Las Vegas Aces, the defending WNBA champions.
Right.
And now he's going to have, if approved again, this minority stake in the team. Like, look, Mark Davis needs a football mind in that boardroom. And he's said this a couple of times over the last few years. He doesn't know football the way his father did. God rest his soul. Realistically right now, I think it would be a great move once this is approved. Like, look, whether it being on the field, off the field, he can help motivate these guys, a championship pedigree in Brady, MVP winner as well. Like, why not? It'd be a great presence to have in that facility moving forward.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. So I think, as long as this gets approved, we can put to rest that he's coming back, right? Because I keep seeing this every day. He's coming back. He's going to play. I think like he's done, right? He needs to be done. Maybe
you see the new rule that they put in play with a third quarterback, right? Like, look,
we're gonna talk about that actually
in the press box, and maybe both of our quarterbacks go down.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's talk about the Brock Purdy rule, and then we'll talk about how you guys feel about the kickoff rule. So the Brock Purdy rule has been put into effect. They will allow teams to dress a third quarterback for games without having to use a roster spot. So if you guys remember, like this used to be allowed, 1991, and then 2010, that was it. And then obviously the NFC championship game, we had to put this rule back in place. So, I mean, are you guys for it? Charles, you want to kick it off, or are you into this? I feel like it was necessary.
I feel like they could have done more. I think it's not necessarily a true extra roster spot, right? They have to either be on the practice squad or on the 53-man roster. Mm-hmm. And then it has to, potentially, can be a player who's active, but that would kind of defeat the purpose. Can be a player who's inactive, which that's kind of nice, but it's going to come into play, not very often. And it's not really a situation either where it's like, I think they have rules against being able to, bench a player for performance and then put in another quarterback. It's strictly for injuries. I'm all for roster flexibility. I feel like the NFL should just go all out with it. More players, more opportunities, and what have you. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but they could have done more.
Yeah, they could have done. You guys agree with that? Anybody else want to jump in? How do you feel about it?
I agree to it to a certain extent, because I think of this think about it like in the rules that we have in hockey. I mean, the fact that you have 2, if not 3 goaltenders that go down, what's the next situation they have to use? An emergency goaltender. We've heard it with the greatest story ever with David Ayers coming in and being an emergency goaltender, and he was phenomenal by that point. But the thing is I like it because at least there's an emergency that somebody can, at the very least, who's athletic, smart as far as football IQ, understanding the game and knowing how to really help with this offense. Let the rest of the team really help to educate the quarterback, where the quarterback only has one thing to do, and that is to distribute the football. This, I think, was a smart move to do for the NFL. I'm sure there probably are going to be a little bit more of some flexibility and maybe a little bit more of some adjustments along the way, but at least this is a step in the right direction. And I hate to say this, but this should have been implemented even at a time, the Broncos know this, when all the quarterbacks got hit with COVID. So at least finally, this could finally be put in place where this helps all 32 clubs out there. And then at least this could give them an even playing field, because you can't go out there without a quarterback. It's just not that possible. You'll become a laughing stock by the end of the week.
Yeah,
I'm sure Sean Payton remembers that game because it was against the New Orleans Saints that we had all 3 of our quarterbacks out, and they had Taysom Hill in at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
And it was a mess because you had Kendall Hinton, who was a quarterback at Wake Forest.
Right.
And
that's right.
he hadn't even played an NFL game at quarterback, and he's going in less than a week of preparation, because I think the NFL earlier in the week had told the Broncos, look, none of your quarterbacks can play because one person with COVID came into the quarterback room. No one can play. So they had less than a week to prepare Kendall Hinton to be that emergency quarterback. So I think,
but it was okay to give a pass to the Steelers who was the other team that got the pass during the COVID year? Like, because they kept moving the games. The last 2-3 times? They got a break.
And the Ravens had moved quite a bit.
The Ravens got a break of it. And what the hell? How is that supposed to be equal and fair to at least the rest of the league?
Yeah. Because I remember during that time, Denver didn't get a bye week because they moved that Broncos game to that Patriots game.
COVID times are crazy. I mean, we were watching football Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It was insane. So pop that question up, Danny. Somebody asked if who's this? Aiden is Aiden O'Connell the first or second best looking quarterback in the league? I just Googled him, and I would have to say, not my type.
That's Officer Farva. Give him a liter of cola.
Not my type.
Jeez, you went from removing the car to this. Like, good Lord.
Here we go.
Now that thing's not going to go anywhere.
Look.
Everybody Google him. All right, let's move on to the kickoff rule. So I want to hear what you guys think. Danny, let's get your thoughts on it first, right? So NFL owners voted on Tuesday to approve a resolution that allows players to fair catch on kickoffs, with the resulting possession beginning at the team's own 25-yard line. So they're saying this in the name of player safety, but I feel like the league is very selective when they want to throw around player safety, right? Yeah, we'll have like 6 Thursday night games or whatever this year. So, I mean, I don't know. Danny, what do you think?
I don't really love it, but it's been in college and you don't really realize it until it happens and you're like, oh crap, that's right, they can do it. But honestly, like, it is what it is. They're claiming it's gonna kind of cut down concussions by like 7% or something along those lines that I read. So I don't know. Any little thing helps for them to look good, but at the end of the day, they should just keep it to where it was now. It doesn't really, most of the kicks are touchbacks now anyway, unless you specifically kick it out. And I know the Giants were one of them that were notorious for kicking it out sometimes this year. And I'm sure other teams like to kick it out just for the field position aspect of it. So, it's
Indifferent?
like, indifferent.
Hammer, are
But,
you mad about it? I mean,
the
you
players
care?
clearly hate it. So
Yeah.
in default, then that means I don't like it, I guess.
Like, realistically, for those that have been watching since they've tried to make the game safer, like the kickoffs, concussions have gone down significantly. Like, we don't see a lot of things that we used to see. The stuff that I used to love doing on special teams, like the blindside hits, all that fun stuff. Like, we don't see that anymore. So for them to try to make it more safer, like, it's really not. Like, Danny just said, like, we see a lot of touchbacks now. So, like, what's really the difference? Realistically, if they wanted to change a rule and make it a little bit safer for those that have watched the XFL,
I was
like
going to
their
mention
kickoff rule. Like, their kickoffs are awesome. Like, I would love to see that in the NFL. That's a safe way of going about it, but it's really nothing.
Yeah, we're like literally one more step away from just having the teams go on the 25-yard line and just get rid of the kickoff rule.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, Charles, you like it? Are you indifferent towards it?
I'm not a fan. Just keep it the way it is, or come up with something more creative. I think, trying to discourage players from taking the ball out on a play that's exciting, that's fun. Everybody loves a good kick return.
Sure.
So I just don't like that part of it. And I don't like that the league is trying to pass this off as, oh, we're trying to make the game safer for our players. They're trying to make it safer for them. They don't want to be held liable for concussions, for lawsuits and stuff like that. This is about money. It's not about player safety. They just trot out the player safety line when they can't say that. So
That's what I'm saying, right, Jake? Like, I feel like it's selective. Like, they care about player safety when it's like a PR spin.
Yeah, it's very selective. I mean, it goes from a long way than just this topic itself, because there's a lot of things that, have to really be implemented and really just changed up in, like, not entirely, but make it better. I mean, think about it like this way. Like, I don't like to get political, but I mean, when the Obamacare thing came around, everybody we know needs to have an affordable health care. It should not always just be on a selective area. If you make it better to where it's affordable for families that can't afford it, then, then it could help us. Then nobody has to feel like they're getting rejected, or they feel like they're just the bottom end of the totem pole. So I feel like in the NFL with this, it really doesn't change so many things, even though of the fact of, yes, it does discourage some players, because Haven't we watched so many times of Devin Hester just take the ball and go all the way downfield, or the fastest guys in kickoffs? I mean, it's the most exciting part of any start of any game. But the fact of the matter is that you have the technology. You have all the tools and the things to make this game a lot better. We know it's gotten quicker. That's why the ratings and everything, like the NFL is king for it. They have enough money as it goes, but I think they need to make it a lot better to where the equipment is a lot safer. Guys are narrowed down. But here's the other thing we don't talk about is, you want to talk about moving the yard line up in kickoffs. How about making the fields better so that none of our players get hurt from turf? Like, can we actually have that topic of discussion? Because Jordan Poyer, he's been screaming out about it on the podcast last time. And it's like, you want to keep these players on and healthy, but it don't help when you got artificial turf and then guys are going down for unexpected injuries.
Well, we can definitely relate to that over here in Giants land at MetLife Stadium. I mean, say goodbye to your ACL. So they did change it out, this season. Brandon, how do you feel about this? Are you mad? Are you like leaning one way or the other?
Mm-hmm. I kind of agree with the snake right here. I think that it's really going to be it's a part of the game that is exciting. It's a part of the game that needs to stay in. And I think it kind of deflates it a little bit. Being here in Denver, it doesn't really matter because all the kickouts are going to go out of the back of the end zone anyway for both teams.
True.
And so it doesn't affect us here, at least here. But I feel like it does take out that element of what it means to have an exciting kickoff return. It's about field position. It's about strategy. Do you kick it short now? Do you kick it short just so they can fair catch, get it to 25? Or do you play the field possession game where you run it out of the end zone?
Right. Yeah, that's what that's kind of what I was saying too. So it's just it's just one of those things of like, I don't know, read the room a little bit. I know what they're trying to do, but
they can't. They don't.
Yeah.
They can't. It's all about money for them.
Right.
And we enable it because we're here and we're talking about the division and we're watching and I'm going to play fantasy football. And, it's just you get conflicted sometimes. Before we move on, I want to know within this division, who's the biggest rivals here?
Chargers, Raiders.
Chargers, Raiders. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you guys say Kansas City and Cincinnati, is that a new rival? Because it's becoming my favorite new rival.
It's starting. I think it's starting to become
starting
one.
there, right?
It's starting to become one.
Yeah.
It's starting to be, but
you can't really call it a rivalry with 3-4 games.
No, you can't. Honestly, you could not possibly call it rivalry unless you've been like 10 years in this thing where like it's been back. Like it has to be literally like blue blood type football where you're in your face. You don't care exactly like as far as, which player's better than the other. Like you're just playing gridiron football. That's why like I love rivalries like this. Chargers, Raiders, Steelers, and even Steelers are just fighting with everybody in the North, whether it's Ravens or the Bengals or the Browns. But everybody's like, oh, the Browns are in the back burner, but still. And even the Giants can relate to when it comes to the Eagles. So like gridiron football like that is what I can consider a rivalry. I'm not there yet.
Right.
I love both quarterbacks with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, but I'm not quite there yet. Give me 10 years of this thing. And if Kansas City and Cincinnati really don't like each other, then okay. I mean, hey, if you want to bring football back to St. Louis, we all know how that feels when St. Louis and Kansas City go against each other.
I think it's getting there. It's definitely creeping in that direction. And it's one of my favorite matchups to watch just because those quarterbacks are so fun to watch. And I do love Joe Burrow. I roll with him in fantasy. Maybe I have a little crush on him and Jimmy G, but that's okay. So let's go around. I just want to recap each team's first round draft pick. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it, how you guys are feeling over there. So let's kick it off. Hammer, you guys took Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech. So looks like the Raiders are trying to make a strong pass rush here, right? So Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, now you add Wilson. Is that like an accurate assessment of what you think they're trying to do here? And that, how does Raider Nation feel about that?
So Chandler Jones right now, since he went down with that injury at the end of the season, we have not heard anything.
Oh, okay.
And the thing has been like, hey, is he coming back? Is he going to retire? Is this coming season going to be his last season? If so, it is what it is. But with Tyree Wilson, this is a guy that I was talking about on my lives way before we were doing mock drafts. This is a guy I had on my radar because I watch the Big 12 so much. I'm a huge UT fan. He's a guy that can be moved around, whether he's playing the interior or the edge. Massive size. Dude is going to be a disruptor. I'm looking forward to seeing certain packages on defense, especially the NASCAR packages with Chandler Jones and Tyree Wilson on the field at the same time. Max on the other on the edge. Like, they're going to cause problems this year. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this new addition, and happy belated birthday to Tyree Wilson as well.
Oh, all right. Then he recently had a birthday?
Over the weekend.
Oh, okay. All right. Swag Jeff, Chargers and Chiefs are all ass. Okay. Damn, just coming in hot right now.
Hello, brother.
Coming in hot. All right, so the Broncos, you guys didn't really have a first round pick. I mean, all right, so you did.
I thought this was just going to be you three: the Chargers, the Chiefs.
No. We got to go there, right? So like you had one, and then the Russell Wilson trade, and Sean Payton, and Bradley Chubb, then you went back. All said and done, you end up taking.
Payton's our first round pick this year. He was Sean Payton was our first round pick.
That's true. That's true. So I'd say that
Isn't that crazy? He was our first round pick.
So you guys won that one. But how are you guys feeling about Marvin Mims? Looks like, and you guys said on Broncos Wire that he's the favorite, for punt return. So is that kind of the direction you think they're heading in? How are you guys feeling about him?
Which is kind of surprising. Along with the kickoff return rule, he became a kind of a favorite for the kickoff return.
Yeah.
And I think the Broncos have tried to put a lot more into special teams, which is kind of why they cut Brandon McManus. But I really am high on Marvin Mims.
Okay.
I saw a lot of his highlights at Oklahoma. Just kind of explosive speed. He has that jump ball aspect to him. And I feel like he could kind of take more passes away from Cortland Sutton. Maybe take a few targets from Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick, a healthy Tim Patrick, hopefully, this year. We went down hard in our receiver room late in the season. We had Jeudy was our only starting receiver at the beginning of the year that didn't miss any time, which was shocking because he's been hurt almost every year and has a drop problem. Mims has good hands, fast receiver, tall receiver, and I feel like we're high on him here in Broncos country.
Okay. All right. Just a reminder that the Broncos haven't beaten the Raiders since before COVID.
Well, we did beat the Raiders as the last team they were in Oakland.
Yeah, you have not beat the Las Vegas Raiders.
That's true. That's true. I do love the in-division fighting, right, Danny? It's the best part of the panel. I love when
the funnest part.
It is the best part when everybody starts arguing with each other because our NFC East panel was wild. I mean, that went off the rails like you wouldn't believe, but it is the best part of it. All right, Charles, talk to me. You're going to have to pronounce this guy's name. So I'll just say Felix, right? You guys went and you grabbed Felix, edge out of Kansas State. So, Frank Clark is gone, Carlos Dunlap. So we expect that he will fit kind of right in, right? In that rotation of edge rushers. Is that the expectation?
That is the expectation, and we're just going with King Felix because his name's just long and tenuous. But anyhow, King Felix, Big 12, another Big 12 edge rusher, had quite a bit of production at Kansas State. Local Kansas City native. He played high school in Kansas City and actually grew up a Chiefs fan. So a little bit of fan service with the pick there. And we haven't really seen much of him so far. He sat out, only did like individual work at rookie mini camp, and has kind of been ramping things up at OTAs because he had a thumb injury that he had surgery on. But it's a player the team likes quite a bit. I know that their scouts kind of likened his play style and his ability to Tamba Hali, Chiefs legend. So fans, they definitely they're enjoying the pick. They like what he did at K-State, and they're hoping that he can reproduce that here a bit in Kansas City and have kind of a similar year one to George Karlaftis a season ago, where he kind of ramps up throughout the season, has better production down the stretch.
All right, interesting. But you guys, the chat is saying you guys are too quiet, that you're not fighting enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
Brandon, can I ask you a question real quickly?
Go for it.
Has Sean Payton checked Russell Wilson and told him to get rid of the other 4 or 5 parking spots he has and give up that little office space that he has too?
Because I think he said, get the hell out of here.
Every single year, the Broncos, they're a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. You brought in Russell Wilson. 2 weeks later, you gave him an extension, so he's here till he's, 41, 42 years old, and still the same result. I get you guys have Sean Payton right now, but is it really going to bring a turnover for this franchise? Are you guys finally going to beat the Las Vegas Raiders? Because realistically, I don't think it's going to happen.
we'll save that because we will end with our predictions and we will get into that. Like I said, I think they're going to remember how to play football this year, right? The Broncos have to remember how to play football this year.
God, you can only hope.
I hope Sean Payton's at least good for 3 wins this year.
Okay, over under 3. I'm going to go over. I'll tell you right now. I'm going over 3 wins for the Broncos.
Before you start,
I think 8. I think 8 wins for the Broncos is about where they're going to sit.
Okay, 8 wins. All right.
Nice bounce back year from Russell.
We'll wrap
I mean,
that
with
up.
the rest of the AFC West, though, that could be you could be the last team in the AFC West with 8 wins.
Again?
I know.
Again?
Yeah.
It's a tough division. So all right, Chargers. I love this kid. I do. I like Quentin Johnson. I would have been happy if the Giants got him, but I was overall really happy with the Giants draft. I mean, what a weapon he was at TCU. Talk to us, Jake. What do you think?
I think this has definitely been a need that the Chargers have been asking for. I mean, you saw all throughout last season, they were dying for wide receivers because of the fact Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, both those weapons were hurt, and they were expecting their kick returner, DeAndre Carter, to literally step up with this team. I've said it before, and I've said it again, that in some of those spurts, that's where you got to have Josh Palmer really kind of shine into his own, which I think he has.
Yeah,
He's taken in that role where those big guys go down, the next man up mentality starts to kick in. Now, it is unfortunate, too, that they lost speed with Jalen Guyton. So this really helps this franchise get more deep into wide receivers. I love this pick with Quentin Johnston. My notable picks, I thought we were going to maybe go with Jackson Smith and Jigba, who Seattle ended up taking, or even potentially, Zay Flowers. But I think what they really saw in Quentin Johnston was not just so much of just his catching abilities, his size. They saw more of him just being a threat of yards after catch. And who's really the king of that? That would be Keenan Allen himself, the slayer who knows how to make himself open, keep himself moving downfield to move the chains on this offense. So I think having him as a tandem really works. The real question is that everybody's been asking is, could this be the final year we might see Keenan Allen and Mike Williams as a tandem on this team? And I think that's where the Chargers really answered that question by drafting Quentin Johnston. So I like this pick. I think this really just adds another weapon to Justin Herbert's arsenal, because we all know the big payday is going to be coming at some point. So if you're going to do this, like I said last year, you need to do it now before the payday ends, because now it's going to happen. And so at some point, it's either championship or bust with the way that things are looking. But the defense looks to be better. But I think Quentin Johnston, I'm going to love seeing this kid when he starts his rookie year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a good pick for you guys.
Mm-hmm. All right. By the way, thanks for everybody joining in Rush Hour. We really appreciate it. So please like, subscribe, everything. Thank you for everybody that's shown up tonight. Nikki, take it away.
Yeah, do all those things, everybody. Like, subscribe, follow all these guys before we head out in about half hour, 20 minutes or so. We'll make sure everybody gives their handles, but I feel like half of this room probably knows where to find you guys, but we want to make sure that everyone gets you on social. All right, so let's talk a little bit about fantasy. So somewhere I struggle personally is a tight end position. I always struggle. It's like a position I'm always end up streaming because there's injuries. And unless you're getting like the top 3, just forget it. I'm like scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think one week I just had a roll with, no one. So, I'm personally very high on Waller this year. I think he's going to be top 5 tight end. I think he and Daniel Jones are going to have amazing chemistry together. Now that I've put that out into the universe for months now, anyone I play with, I know they're going to swipe Darren Waller from me any chance that they get. So Hammer, talk to me. You guys went, you got Austin Hooper, OJ Howard. How
Michael
do you feel
Mayer.
fantasy wise?
And Michael Mayer.
Yeah. So, is this an option for me?
He could be an option for you, but I'm not saying go for him in the first round because right now, as it stands, there's still about 6 tight ends in front of him when it comes to the fantasy rankings going into the season. You got Kelsey, you got Andrews, of course, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, since he went to Minnesota, has been on a tear. Kyle Pitts, they put him anywhere and everywhere.
So I rolled with Pitts. Yeah, no. And here's the thing: for some reason, I always end up picking 8th or 9th. So I'm just assuming like nobody's going to be there.
If you're picking 8th or 9th, leave the tight ends alone.
I know. Oh no, I don't take. That's the thing. I don't take. That's my problem. I'm always. Yeah.
So
my sleeper this year, keep an eye on Pat Freiermuth. I'm serious. I think Kenny.
His rookie year was good, and then the second year he dropped off big time. I got burned by him last year. So
well, it was a change in quarterback, and I think now you're going to get a full season with Kenny Pickett. He looks confident, so I think that's going to really develop with that offense.
And I thought Mitch and Pickett were going to find ways to get to him since he was a tight end. I really got burned by that. But yeah, I'm with you on that.
I do think Michael Mayer is going to be a guy that's a sleeper, especially for the simple fact that we've seen what Jimmy G does with his tight ends. Like that's his safety blanket. And in the red zone, the numbers don't lie. If you take a look at George Kittle's stats with Jimmy G as his quarterback, like Kittle put up some phenomenal numbers. I'm really excited to see what Michael Mayer brings to the table at the next level.
And Mayer catches everything. I watch Notre Dame. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I watched a lot of him.
What was it? 67 receptions, over 800 yards. And 12 touchdowns last year.
He was their main option last year. So he was quote unquote baby Gronk, and then obviously the old Patriots coordinator gets baby Gronk. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Full circle. This whole show is about coming.
I don't know if we've seen the next Gronk yet until next year's draft, and you know who I'm talking about, right?
Here we go.
Yep. I'm looking at that kid from Georgia, Brock Bowers.
Yeah, a lot of people love him.
Dude, if you're gonna say his name, put that Paul Heyman emphasis.
Yeah, you got. I'm with Hammer on this one.
All right. How about Rashee Rice over there in Kansas City? A lot of buzz going on about him, but the thing is, you're not going to spend a lot of draft capital, right? Because you still got Sky Moore over there, you got MVS over there, you got Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius.
But I just can't. Like, as a Giants fan and just watching him be on and off the field, like I think he's got great potential, but how do you trust that he can stay healthy? So I feel like when it comes to fantasy, you can just kind of take your pick with the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
And that's probably the smart way to do it anyways. I mean, what Patrick Mahomes said last year kind of still rings true. They're going to go wherever, to whomever, different game. It's going to be a different guy. Outside of Travis Kelce, there's really just no one who's super reliable. I even might avoid Isaiah Pacheco. I know that people are really high on him after the Super Bowl, but he had 2 surgeries this offseason. He's not working out at OTAs yet. It might be one of those things where they kind of ease him into action during training camp and even bleeding into the regular season possibly. So they might be looking at some other guys to help out the running back department early in the season. And then with Rashee Rice, I think people are going to be a little bit cautious with him because of what happened with Sky Moore last season, where people were really high on Sky Moore and he kind of laid an egg. Really
Super
didn't.
Bowl.
The Super Bowl was nice, but fantasy's over by that point.
No, I
Rashee,
know,
right?
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, but the Lombardies matter.
I think that Rashee Rice will get more involved than Sky Moore did, just because he's going to have more opportunities, right? Juju Smith-Schuster is gone, but if you listen to the way that Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Brett Veach have talked about him, they're talking about him. They're saying, oh, he's got ability like a running back. They're going to use him in different ways that Sky Moore wasn't used last season. They're going to use him like Mecole Hardman. They're going to get him those plays, those jet sweeps, the end around plays. They're going to get the ball to him in space on screen passes. They want to get the ball into his hands and use him in that regard, in addition to maybe some of the other stuff that we'll see a need for with Juju Smith-Schuster now leaving. So some of the work across the middle of the field, some of the big slot stuff. So I think that Rice is someone, he's not going to have a season like Sky Moore. I don't know that he's going to be good for 800 yards, say, but I think he's going to get the ball enough to be worth your investment in fantasy.
Okay. How do you feel about Kadarius Toney?
I like Kadarius Toney. I think that, the talent is there. Right. We've all seen the flashes.
Yeah.
It's just that he can't stay on the field and stay healthy.
Yeah.
And, I think the Chiefs kind of developed a plan for him last season to keep him on the field. He still kind of had the hamstring issue coming into Kansas City, was out a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Then late in the season, they kind of had him on a bit of a snap count, right? Like,
right.
I think he kind of peaked at like 24, 25 snaps a game between offense and special teams. I think they're going to kind of increase that incrementally this year, use him in specific packages, get him running the 9 route, which he didn't really do much in New York and didn't really do much in college because he didn't really have the QB.
Right. Yeah. Kadarius Toney is just one of those, like, it's different for you guys because you got him in a trade. Like for us, he was a first round draft pick. So that brutally hurt us as the Giants. And it was just like, all right, how many chances are we going to give this guy? So, like, it's going to be interesting because, like we mentioned, Rice and Moore are basically the same type of player. So it's really going to be interesting which of these 3 players is Mahomes and Andy Reid going to focus on more times than not. Like you mentioned before, every game is going to be different. But who out of those 3, who's going to be the main guy? It's going to be interesting to see.
If I had to pick
I'm
one
excited
to step up, I think Moore in his second year is going to be phenomenal.
I could see that too. And I have seen games of Toney. It's very rare. You'd have to dig really deep. That one Cowboys game, Toney's rookie year. Other than that, he never really has been able to show it because of him never being healthy. So good luck with Toney.
You know what? The important thing is he helped the Eagles lose the Super Bowl. So for that, I am eternally grateful.
I was gonna let you get that one, but yeah,
I'm eternally grateful. I know what's going on in the chat. Everybody's like, yeah, well, we're happy for the Eagles loss, because I was sweating that out. Like I just could not have that happen. So I'm grateful for that. Kadarius Toney all the way. Just don't think I feel comfortable drafting you. Do you feel comfortable, Brandon, drafting Russell Wilson? Would you take a chance? No.
I would not take a chance on Russell Wilson. Don't
Let's
pick
ride.
Russell Wilson.
Let's ride, Brandon. Let's ride.
No, let's
hide.
Let's
hide.
Let's hide from Russell Wilson. I really like the Ben DiNucci pickup, but not for fantasy, just for other reasons. But I would not pick Russell Wilson in fantasy.
Okay. No, but I do, like I said, I do really like the Broncos defense.
Yeah, the Broncos defense, I think, greatly improved during the offseason. We did lose big DJ Jones, and that was a big loss to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to miss him. And I think one of the things that we are really improving on is the safety position. And I think J.L. Skinner really was a great pick for the Denver Broncos in the draft. And they got a great cornerback. They picked 3 players on defense And so they're definitely becoming a more defensive-oriented team, which is how Sean Payton is kind of geared towards.
Yes.
And more of a run-based offense, which takes, I think, a lot of the pressure off Russell Wilson's shoulders to throw the ball, which all Broncos fans are praying that he does not throw the ball more.
Yeah, I'm hoping you guys have a good season, but I would not feel comfortable drafting him either. But you know what? Watch, this will be the season he like has a major bounce back, and then we're all gonna regret it. But he'll be available to pick up because I don't think a lot of people are going to draft him. All right, what's going on with the Chargers? I mean, Herbert had a little bit of a regression. He went from QB, what was it, 2 in 2021, QB 11. So, and I get it, right? That wide receiving core, they just didn't perform how everybody thought
And
they
he
would.
was hurt too.
And he had that cracked rib, right? He had fractured rib, cracked rib. So, listen, I'm a big fan of Justin Herbert, but do we think, like, fantasy wise, this offense is going to do what everyone expects them to do?
All those things that you just mentioned are all very valid as to why Justin Herbert has definitely, dropped, at least in fantasy numbers. But another part of this reason is too, and thank God we finally found the solution, but Joe Lombardi was also part of this problem. The problem of it is because this league is not built for dink and dunk. I hated that, the way that he controlled this offense. The one time, I believe it or not, this short story, but me and my fiance, we were out at B-Dubs, and I'm watching the game against the Dolphins. That 4 down spot where they were that close in the red zone, and you decide to throw on 4th down and out route. What is the matter with you? The whole point is you're supposed to end up going inside, attack the in, slants in. Unfortunately, Joe Lombardi didn't have the football IQ to understand pressurized situations, and that's what really cost it with Justin Herbert, even in fantasy. I mean, it was so excruciating to watch that I was so close to throwing my beer at the TV because of plays like that. You just as a head coach, that's inexcusable. The thing about it is Justin Herbert can sling the ball. We watched this with Shane Steichen as an offensive coordinator. And the fact that Joe Lombardi came in and started to implement the dink and dunk, worry a little more of, short passes rather than what Mahomes does and what Burrow does and what Josh Allen does. Right. Herbert is capable of leading this team. So I think this year, he's going to bounce back from being that QB 11 to maybe potentially being that QB 2-3 again. The reason of this is because Kellen Moore, the Dallas Cowboys, are going to regret letting him walk because Jerry Jones is doing this whole thing of they have a succession plan, but cutting Kellen Moore, who was the prime reason that Dak Prescott was a better quarterback, you're going to see Dak really regress because of the fact of Dak is smart. Dak is a franchise quarterback, but he has limitations. Justin Herbert is unlimited. And that is where Kellen Moore, and I've watched him as a quarterback at Boise State and how smart his brain is. Justin Herbert is just about the same, a 4.0 biology major student. That kid is going to learn and perfect and master the playbook that Kellen Moore has in place because Keenan Allen, you're going to unleash him as one of the best yards after catch type receivers. Quinn Johnston's rookie season is not going to be huge, but it's going to be efficient to where you're going to want to pick him as an option in fantasy in the later rounds. And also, Mike Williams, even on his hurt days, knows how to make clutch plays. So Justin Herbert is going to really change a lot with Kellen Moore at the helm. But this whole season is you really got to open up this offense. And not to mention, too, you're still going to want to consider Austin Eckler.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because you haven't brought him up
now
yet.
We got a
He's
$2 million incentive bonus right there. And so he's going to be wanting to play and be one of the best fantasy pickups at running back.
Are your receivers going to stay healthy, though?
Yes, they are.
If you're going to take one of these guys in fantasy, you better handcuff Quentin Williams, Quentin Johnson as well, because I don't see Williams or Keenan Allen staying healthy the entire season.
The real question I have to ask you is do you have the right secondary for when Justin Herbert slings the deep ball downfield and starts scoring?
We do.
All right.
Well, I wouldn't say anything about Justin Herbert being unlimited because you remember what the last quarterback here said he was Mr. Unlimited. He's become Mr. Limited in Denver.
Yeah, but then again, Nathaniel Hackett was over skis. This
he
wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't Hackett's time.
Way
That's
over
what.
Could not.
We all knew it after week 1.
But here's the thing I will say on this panel is that a lot of people think that it is personally the quarterbacks, but you have to really think what goes on behind closed doors.
Sure.
It does. Coaching is everything. You
Oh, yeah.
may
Look at
say
the
that like
Chiefs.
Russell, but here's the thing. Russell Wilson comes into a Denver offense with a new head coach that completely was out of his skis. Did you notice how many times in those games he was not running the ball a lot? He
Yeah.
wasn't running out of the
I
pocket.
watched him.
Yeah, and that's
He's like,
but that I think is because of some coaching changes, and yet he wants
Absolutely.
to be a pocket guy. He's never been that guy. Justin Herbert the same way. Joe Lombardi wants dink and dunks. Herbert is not built for that kind of offense. He's built to sling it, go downfield, give me 30 plus. That's what he's about. And it's going to be an interesting thing with as far as the Raiders go, because we know Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback and he plays on his best days. But you have now Jimmy Garoppolo with a familiar coach in Josh McDaniels. But the question of it is that going to be enough of surplus to make Devontae Adams and the rest of that receiving core really go off? So there's question marks, but coaching is everything in this league.
Well, and I think Brian Dable really was an example of that, winning coach of the year.
It was
right?
all Brian Dable.
I mean, you go from what was it, Dan? 3-4 wins, and then like we're 9 wins. We're in the playoffs. Saquon's having this great fantasy
You
year.
give Daniel Jones a fat paycheck,
Yeah, Daniel
which he
Jones
should
got
be
his
sharing some of that paycheck with Brian, by the way, too.
He will. Don't
Jake,
worry.
since
He
we're
really
talking,
saved, Dable definitely saved Daniel Jones's career.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Jake, since we're talking about coaching, I'm curious your thoughts on Staley, because
I was gonna mention Staley.
This
Good
is
job,
Staley.
Charles.
This is Staley's last year.
He should have been a coach. After
Trust,
choking that game against-
trust and believe. I said the same thing, but I also do think as well that there was even changes in the defensive coordinating spot that they needed to get a shutdown defensive coordinator who can stop the run for once, which hopefully they did with the draft picks and even for guys that are coming back healthy and better than ever. But Staley, the reason why hiring Kellen Moore is this is going to be a season where this is Kellen Moore's offense. This is not Brandon Staley's offense to work with. You need to fix that defense. You need to get back to the number one defense you had with the LA Rams and stop the run once and for all, because it's excruciating to watch opposing teams with less running back value run all over this team. It's inexcusable.
Just stop going for it on fourth down so damn much.
Yeah. And don't blow
Only-
20-point leads in the playoffs.
Hell no.
All right. Well, since we're going there, let's close it out the last few minutes that we have here. Give me your way too early, way too bold predictions. Is this just the Chiefs division to lose again? Or the Broncos coming in last place? Or the Chargers and Raiders gonna fight it out there for second and third? So Brandon, you said the Cowboys, or sorry, not the Cowboys. You guys got me worried about the Cowboys now. You said the Broncos are going to have 8 wins. Are you going to roll with that?
I'm going to roll with 8 wins, but
Okay.
a win against Kansas City. We haven't beat Kansas City in 16 games, 17 games?
Oh,
you know what's interesting, Brandon? The last player to have beat Kansas City in a game on the
Peyton
Broncos.
Manning.
No, well, Brandon McManus. He was the last player on your roster, and you guys just got him. No one on the Broncos roster as a member of the Denver Broncos has beat the Chiefs before.
wow.
And
So
he's the
let me
last
just
member
address.
of Super Bowl 50, by the
Let
way.
me just address Tudo's comment real quick. I know he says, no disrespect to anybody, but we've got better things to do, places to go, people to meet, rather than waste time about the AFC West. Well, that's because this is Rush Hour. We are not a Giants show. We are around the league in 60 minutes or less. We are about fantasy. We are about best bets, and we are about the entire league. That's the beauty of Rush Hour. So if you want Giants only content, that's Monday night for you. But if you want around the league and you play fantasy see and you want some really great information with these great panelists that we're going to have on throughout the year, they're our friends, we do each other's show, then this is the place to be. All right, so 8 wins for the Broncos. I'm going to book it. Book it. I like it. I think 8 wins is fair.
I think
All
with
right.
Peyton and a better year out of Russell, they'll surprise more people.
All right, Charles. What about the Chiefs? But like, how many wins? 13. I mean, what do I like? 14.
I've got them going 14-3 again. I think the early part of the schedule is going to be key because the last half of the schedule they have like 6 straight games where they're playing their opponents on short rest. So I feel like if if they can get off to a hot start this year, they can pull that off.
Okay. All right. Hammer. Raiders.
You want a bold prediction? Because I've told people I'm not giving an official until I can get an assessment after week 2. So a bold prediction is going to be 11-6, 12-5. That's bold, but
That is bold.
I don't know right now. I have to wait until the season starts, and after at least week 2, after the Bills game, I'll be able to give a full assessment and a full official prediction of the season.
Oh, so you don't give official ones in August?
Not anymore. We don't even have a 53-man roster right now. Like I watched the schedule release, and NFL Network is like, "Oh, the Jets are going 13-4."
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
that.
really? Didn't Aaron Rodgers strain his calf yesterday too in OTAs? Stop it.
I believe he did. But in August, like the week before, you're not going to give like your final prediction? You're going to wait till week 2?
Because of what we saw
Interesting.
last year in the preseason and how we didn't see any starters. Like we saw Josh Jacobs in the Hall of Fame game and the first preseason game, but no other starters.
That was insane,
No.
by the way.
Oh, and it got everybody talking. Oh, Jacobs is going to get traded. No, he's not.
All right. How many games are the Chargers going to win?
My
Unofficial predictions here. We're just having fun.
Key.
everybody.
yeah.
Jake, say hi to Key.
What up, Key? She's always in the building, no matter where we're at. But I think my bold prediction, early ones, is I think this feels like an 11-win team. And the
Okay.
reason of it is because the start of the season of it with the first 4 games, knowing we've got Miami, Tennessee, Minnesota, and the Raiders. That's an interesting 4 starts. And then not to mention, too, what's going to be really tough of a challenge is our bye weeks in week 5. And we are a
yeah.
team
That's
that
rough.
suffered a lot of injuries last year. And so week 5 after that, there's coin flips to be made because the Cowboys on Monday night are a coin flip as long as this team doesn't get 10 plus penalties the last time they faced against Dallas. They basically lost the game to themselves. Kansas City's always a coin flip because it's either at home or on the road. But I do think Chicago, the Jets, Detroit, even Green Bay, Baltimore feels like a coin flip, and New England is a coin flip for the reasons of they have not beaten New England now in the last few seasons. And it's really just been excruciating. I hated this. They are one of the reasons why I've been a Patriot hater for years, is because of the fact of losing in the playoffs when the team went 14-2. And then the fact of you're just hearing Brady this, Brady that. And it's like, I'm sick of this team. And they haven't won since then. But even so, the last parts of the season is going to be the hardest stretch. Raiders, Bills, Broncos, Chiefs. That's harder than anybody could even. So the only way this team could honestly fulfill 11 wins is you got to, at the very least, have at least a solid start to the first 4 games before bye week. Be very strong in the middle of it and finish that way with the last few games of the season. I think they can do it, even with just the new look of this team, the offensive coordinator, Justin Herbert, playing for potentially a bigger payday at least. Right. And I mean, this is just all or nothing for them. I know I've said it from last year, and I've even said it from the year before, but it is Brandon Staley's last year. How many embarrassments are you going to have now until you really get serious?
You should have stayed in Jacksonville, honestly.
Well, the last game of the season against the Raiders that killed their chances, you don't reason with the enemy. There's nowhere in rivalry football do you ever reason with the enemy. You go for the kill and you literally win the ball game. That's what solid coaching does. And then the embarrassment against Jacksonville. So is it going to take 2 horrible embarrassments to finally get it through your head to really make this team win it all? Because the Chiefs, they're on everybody's radar, and it's time to prove it. And that's where, and I mean, you trust me, you're going to watch Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes for 15 years. I love that. But this is where it's time for the Chargers to really stop with the jokes, stop with the embarrassment, and really just prove themselves that they're not a fluke. Look, I live here in Las Vegas, and I've been born and raised here my entire life. It would be a dream come true to actually see this team in the bigger stage in my hometown.
Oh yeah, that would be. It's been embarrassing. I can roll with that. I can agree with you there. It has been embarrassing, but this has been fun. I'm so glad that you guys were able to join us. Before I let you go, I have my very informal poll that I do and ask everybody. All right, so let's say you have a delicious plate of chicken wings in front of you. What dipping sauce are you using? Are you going blue cheese, ranch, nothing, or something else? Anybody?
Blue cheese all day.
Blue cheese all day. All right.
Wait, we talking like buffalo wings here?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Blue cheese.
Okay, blue cheese.
Man. Every time when I go to B-Dubs and I order Desert Heat wings, I'm definitely getting that ranch.
No. Oh,
Hey, listen. I'm telling you right now.
This has to be a
Hammer,
West Coast
Hammer,
thing.
you better not on wedding day. You better not bring blue cheese in front of my future wife because she's not a fan of that. She is not a fan of blue cheese.
Dude, you're getting blue cheese just because you're going to make me wear a cowboy hat and take my horse to Old Town Road. So,
oh, boy.
Come on now, man.
This is going to be some wedding.
It's
Brandon,
gonna be
where are you go? Are you going blue cheese, ranch?
I gotta go ranch. I gotta go with. I'm gonna go with ranch, man.
What? This is a West Coast thing. Do you guys put ranch on your pizza too?
No. Ew, who the hell does that?
Weird.
No.
People on the West Coast, they do it. I hear it all the time.
See, people do it like with fast food pizza chains.
Jeez, it's like a similar conversation of does pineapple belong on pizza? And of course it does. I love my island pie. Yeah.
No. Not in Jersey. No pineapple on pizza. All right, guys, before we get out of here, let's go round robin. Brandon, you kick it off. Tell everybody where they can find you and your great content.
You can find me on Broncos Wire. I am a contributing writer for Broncos Wire. So you'll find me there.
All right. Where can people follow you?
My Instagram is bwalker_Colorado.
That's right. All right, Charles, where can everybody find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at GoldMCTNFL. You can find my writing on ChiefsWire.com or over at KC Sports Network, where I am the editorial director.
All right. Hammer.
YouTube. You guys see it right there. Raider Nation News Today. Instagram, Raider_Nation_News_Today. And Twitter, Hammers_House.
Yes, Hammer's House. Jake the Snake, where can everybody find you?
Well, you can find me on everywhere that you can find your podcasts. And of course, on all social media platforms, iHeartRadio, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. And now we finally have converted to where we have officially a TikTok now. So yes, you can find me up on TikTok.
All right.
But even if you're seeing my colors right now, I talk more than just that. I talk all sports, and you already know the playoffs have been fantastic. So if you love sports and entertainment and love best of both worlds, come see the Snake Sports Talk Show. That's where we are.
Yes, Snake was impressive tonight. Yes, he is. I can attest to that. I have done his show, and it's a good time and always professional, as was everybody on this panel. I really appreciate you guys taking some time to hang out with us, and we will get you back on to mid-season, end of the season, and kind of wrap it up. So thank you guys. We will see you guys next week. We are going to have a fantasy football and gambling psychologist on. So make sure you guys tune in for that, because I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation. We are out. See you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.